Yo, what up YouTube? It's your boy AM coming to you with an unboxing video. This day is a special day because I'm bringing you the Sega Mini console. Woo! I'm adding this to my console collection. I have about 1, 2, 3, 4 consoles. I think this is the 5th one. So we'll be unboxing this sweet edition for retro gaming. Cool. See you in a bit. We brought our handy dandy knife here with us to open any boxes that stand in our way. Shout out to my cousin, as always. He gave me this super sweet sharp knife. And what we'll be unboxing today is the Sega Genesis Mini. This is the mini console that Sega has put out for their version of the retro gaming little mini consoles that have been sweeping the nation over the past year. This is super sweet because I owned a Sega Genesis before I owned a Super Nintendo. My cousin had a Sega Genesis before I got one back in the day, and I was able to play it, so I'm super excited to get this thing here and to unbox it. I have loved every one of these games for quite some time. Top of the box, we got Sonic, we have the console, we have Genesis, 16-bit video entertainment. Woo! Here's the side, we got Sonic with Genesis console, same thing as the front. Here's the bottom of the box, nothing but information, we don't read that. And what we have here is the Sega Genesis Mini with some cool information. It's a little too close for you to read, but it tells you all the contents that are inside. And on the back of the box, which is probably the coolest part, is we have a whole collection of games that are available in this thing. So what they did is they added 40 classic games, and they also put 2 more titles in it just for the fun of it, which is pretty cool. So you got Echo the Dolphin, you have Mickey Mouse Castle of Illusion, which is a pretty sweet game. And then you also got some classics like Sonic the Hedgehog right here, the original 2, and I think you also got 3 in there. You also got Phantasy Star, which is a nice RPG that Sega makes. You also got Castlevania, which is one of the better versions of the Castlevania games. There's a lot of good stuff in here. There's Alex Kidd, which is a really fun platformer that you can play. It used to be pretty dope back in the day. We also got Alter Beast, which is pretty sweet. I played that quite a bit. I never got to the end because I never owned the cartridge or anything like that. But I'm super excited to play it to the end because I always liked that game quite a bit in the arcade as well. You would transform the werewolf to the dragon. You would keep going. But I never had enough quarters to finish it off. And so it'd be kind of cool to revisit this. You got Tetris. And you have a bunch of other games here that are pretty sweet. I'm pretty jazzed about this because there's Vector Man. I'm excited for that. You also got Virtual Fighting 2, Streets of Rage, which is a really nice beat 'em up. Strider. I mean, this is kind of like the best of Sega. A lot of people back in the day were divided into 2 camps. There's Super Nintendo and then there was Genesis. How it usually worked out was like through the marketing. Like Genesis was like the super cool fast console. You had turbo graphics, and then Super Nintendo couldn't do it. But I think ultimately Super Nintendo was the better console, but Sega put up a decent fight. I mean, a lot of these games are pretty dope. Like Gunstar Heroes is like super sweet. Golden Axe is like a bomb game in arcade and also in this collection. You have Sonic Pinball, which is super dope. I mean, this is pretty much the best of the best. Even like Columns is a pretty fun game. It's like a puzzle game where you line up gems and you match them and then they bust. It's like super easy to play, but it's super fun. Yeah, Contra. I mean, this is like the stacked Genesis lineup here. I think this is the better version of the mini console because the Super Nintendo one is pretty dope. You have classic games like Super Metroid and stuff like that, but there's also like a little bit of filler stuff that's in it. This has like a lot of the like little known classic games that are pretty dope. I mean, Echo Dolphin's pretty sweet. Mickey Mouse Castle Illusions, pretty awesome, and the fact that they have it in this collection is super sweet. So I'm like jazzed up to get up into this unboxing, because this is like nostalgia 101. This is like one of the first consoles. Well, I own a Super Nintendo, or I guess that's called the NES, Nintendo Entertainment System. That was the first thing I owned, and then when I went to after that, I had the choice between Super Nintendo and Genesis. But because my cousin had one, I had to get one of these things, and so that's kind of how my love for Sega went. And then, as we all know, Sega didn't really compete after that. Kind of stuck around until like the Saturn, but then that kind of like went downhill. And then the Dreamcast was a really good console, but just didn't last. But overall, this is like probably the heyday of Sega, and this is like super sweet. So let's just open this up and see what we can do to get inside. Okay, we're gonna pop this little tab here and then open it up. Ooh, cool. So, the unboxing experience. Ooh, the console just came right out. Look at that. And then that's pretty much it. See, there's nothing in here. So we just toss that box to the side. What you got here is an instruction manual. We'll just open this up a little bit and then just flip through it. We typically don't read this because we're gamers. We kind of know how technology works, so it's just kind of like born in the DNA. I say that all the time, but it's pretty much true. I mean, if you've been playing video games as long as I have, or if you have been playing video games as long as you have, you pretty much know how to set up any console, and so you don't need that information. All you need to know is where is the cable parts, and then that's what we have. Back in the day, you would have to use like a CRT television, and then you like what they call a coaxial cable to tie it onto the TV to be able to play it. Nowadays, these little minis are updated for like the HD TVs, so you have HDMI ports that connect directly into the television from the little mini consoles. So what we have here is a micro USB to a USB cable, which is probably going to power the device. Yep. And right here we have the little adapter that gives the console all its juice. Yep, so the cable goes into here, plugs in there, that plugs in the console. So far the unboxing experience has not been that awesome. It feels, I mean, the outside case is pretty cool, but like a lot of the packaging is not as sweet as the other mini consoles I open up. This is kind of a little bit lackluster in that department, but I kind of remember like the old consoles not being packaged very well. Like the newer stuff is pretty sweet. So like if you do an Xbox One or a PS4, those newer consoles, like the unboxing experience is super sweet. Back in the day, how this was like unboxed is kind of basically how those first consoles were. It wasn't really like anything special. Nowadays, the presentation and how you open it is like part of the experience. And so companies like Razer and SteelSeries put a lot of effort into like taking apart all of the good stuff. But these consoles didn't have the luxury of that back then. Back in the 1980s, these weren't as cool. But what we have here is the controller. The controller feels pretty cool. Feels very reminiscent of the old Genesis controller. I remember having one of these, 3 buttons. Start. I mean, that's so cool. Takes me back. I don't know how like authentic this is, if this like really how it felt, but it's cool. I'm totally digging it. I'm like getting into my feels right now. You know how like some people say like music takes you back? In my opinion, holding an old school controller is like that for me. It's like taking me back to my youth. This is when I was probably about, how old was I? Probably in my like 12 year to like 16. When I started high school, I was playing a lot of Super Nintendo. I didn't get a PS1 until I was like probably like 16 or 17 years old. So 12 to 16 is probably the years that I had the console. Unfortunately, I don't know where it went. I think maybe it sold to like one of my cousins. I usually in my family was like one of the first people to get video game consoles. Not because like I was spoiled or anything like that. It was just that I worked for them, so I would work all summer, save my money up, and then I'd buy my gaming systems. Didn't come free. I wish. Yeah, so there's nothing like in this box. We'll open this up and we'll look at the little mini thing. This is like the creme de la creme of what we've been searching after. So we got the little mini Genesis right here. This was exactly what it looked like. Oh my gosh, this is like so reminiscent. You have the power button, you have the reset button, and we have a little plastic here on the top. So let's not scratch it too much and then peel it off. Satisfying. Ooh, don't want to scratch my little console up. Just barely got it. Cool little cartridge goes in here, but there's nothing that there's no connections there, so you can't really put a cartridge in. So this is the backside HDMI. You have the HDMI out with the power that goes into it. All the games are housed on this little unit here, so all 42 games can be put off this little console. What we have here is the top of it. You have the 16-bit Genesis, Sega cartridge holder, power, like I said, reset. You had the controls for the audio, plug it into here in the front, but this no longer has it because the audio comes out of the HDMI. I heard the emulation on this is pretty sweet. After seeing all the reviews, they said it's probably like one of the better ones. People have been crapping out about the PlayStation 1 Classic Mini, saying the emulation there is pretty trash. It works out well for me because, you know, a lot of the stuff doesn't look that amazing, and it shouldn't be because retro gaming should just be like the way it is. And if you put a little bit of love into it, some people like it a little bit more, but I'm neither here nor there with that. Check that out. I put the controller in there and you have the game ready to go. I'm so excited to play this. I mean, this is like bringing back so many feels, so many memories. This is like so dope. I can't wait to play like all those games. I am so excited. This is probably like one of the better unboxing because it comes with an actual power adapter. Some of those consoles don't got that. Talking to you, Neo Geo. You didn't come with a power adapter, let alone an HDMI cord. All it came with was this little cabinet, which is nice, but it could have been nice if it came with controllers and all the other accessories. So this right here is the Sega Genesis. I hope you enjoyed going down memory road with me. I think this is pretty awesome that they're putting out all these little mini consoles. Next year we have the TurboGrafx that's coming out. I never owned one of those things. Those things were so expensive in electronic stores. So I just got to play it on display, but I never actually got to play it like at home, or I knew anybody that had it. It was just too expensive. But you know, growing up, there was always two camps. There was the Genesis camp, and then there was the Super Nintendo. For a long time, I was in that Genesis camp. I was rocking Genesis. I got Mortal Kombat on it. Mortal Kombat that came with the Genesis had blood. You had to put a code in. It was like A, B, A, C, A, B, A, C, like something crazy like that. And then you had the blood thing that happened in it. And then the Super Nintendo didn't have blood, but it ran a lot better. And the controls were a lot more fluid because it had more buttons on the controller. But the Genesis did have blood, so it was a more edgy console. And then I remember one year I like put the Mortal Kombat on layaway, and I had to work like 2 summers just to get it out of layaway so I can play Mortal Kombat on Genesis at home, because beforehand it was in the arcades, and when we went to console, everybody was so excited. Most people played the Super Nintendo version, but I was just in the Genesis camp at the time, so I only played it on Sega. But I got blood, so that's pretty cool. You know, I'm so excited about it. I'm so sorry to play this thing. This is like so cool. All these memories that I have, all coming out year after year. So I can't wait for them to do the N64. Hopefully they do a GameCube one. That's like so awesome. GameCube's like has a special place too. And I hope they do like all the other consoles. Like a PS2 would be super sweet. What else is there? Oh, the OG Xbox would be so cool too. And if we even get like the Master System, so like the Sega Saturn, which is like I think the Sega Master System, like that console would be super sweet. Even a Dreamcast with these would be so dope. So if you're a retro gamer and you want to like get back into it and get these little things, I think it's worth it. I've been collecting all of these, so I'm so excited. I'll probably do a video blog updating you of all my little consoles that I have, and this has been so much fun for me to be able to like get these all things again. And the fact that it comes preloaded with games does not bother me. It'd be because like searching down the cartridges would be so hard. I probably could like afford to get them, but now that I'm an older person, but it just seems like a lot too much work. And for me, I just like I'm playing the new stuff. It's hard to go back to playing the old stuff, so it's just like a nice little entry point for me to get each system and then be able to play like the games that come preloaded with it. Like I said, this has been such a good experience. So if you want to see more of this awesome unboxing content or other content from the AMPM channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Hit a thumbs up if you like what you've seen and heard about my stories. And if you want to let me know like your experience with the Sega Genesis, let me know in the comment section. I want to hear from you. Other than that, peace.